Well, hello everyone. Good evening. My name is Mohamed. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Native Chips. And you might have heard of me before through another company called eFabless. And eFabless was the mission and the driver for the eFabless is to reduce the cost for design entry for product companies. So the knowledge and the cost. So we've managed to do that, and then we got a hitch, and then we started another company called Chip Foundry. That's continuing division, and then I started Native Chips because, and the reason the name is coming from, I tried to mimic the Apple silicon. I actually had the domain Native Silicon, so we ended up with that. So, and I call it the future of custom delivery. And then I'll tell you just a quick one. I used to work at Texas Instruments in the wireless business unit. I was responsible for analog on OMAP when TI was doing the first analog on vanilla CMOS. That team was us, so we were working there. It was a lot of fun, and we learned a lot. And then I moved. So I'm going to talk about Native Chips. And I say there is a problem in the semiconductor industry. I call it it's a demand issue. And I will say that now, in the CHIPS Act here, is not talking about demand. It's talking about supply. So there's no funding or anything for demand on chips. So there are so many companies, tens of thousands of companies that actually could benefit from that, but they never think about the custom chips because they don't know what a custom chip would do for them, for the specific product. All what they hear is that it's a big thing. So this is the kind of market that we're opening, and now we unlock that market for people who actually don't know how to design chips. Typically, it's just the 6 people who know how to. I call it 6 people. So there's an economic wall. That's the long tail one, which is when you have a diversity of the many, a few of the many. So you don't have the high volume. Everybody's looking at the sun. They forget the number of stars that can be available. So now there's a threshold. So it doesn't make any sense if the NRE to start an ASIC is a couple of $1 million for an older node. Okay, and we all know it's in the 3 and the 7 nanometer. Talking about 700 million, for a complete NRE cost for a new design. Now today the EDA tools are actually more expensive than the masks together and getting the chip done, but yet it's not working in the right way. So we address that, open the door. We reduce that barrier to unlock that demand, but we don't stop here because we can go further. 2 problems: product creators don't know what to do with the chip. You can actually talk to, if you give the custom chip for free to the product creator, they will tell, why would I take it? It's risk. I don't know exactly it's going to improve my design. So, and if you convince me it's going to improve my product, I don't know how to do it. So, second one is IDMs, chip companies. This is actually one of the things that we found recently is that they started calling us. They have derivative problems. So every derivative, it costs the team, and they do it serially rather than doing it parallel. So Native Chips is a simple, it's a chat box that you will talk to, describe the chip or the system at a high level. You're not going to talk about IP. You're not going to talk about EDA tools. You're not going to talk about the process. All of that as engineering system, these things are supposed to be levers or variables that can happen. And it finishes into the GDS and with the option to order through Chip Foundry, for example. The foundry, the up and running foundry partner right now is SkyWater with 130 nanometer. We've already started the actual agreement with XFAB because we've done chips for them before in different world. And then when Global Foundry specifically is interested in these 2 nodes, one in the power management side and the other one in the edge AI applications, especially through MIPS. The opportunity for this is huge. Okay, if I have a build-up of this, both bottoms up and tops down, but this assumes that you're going to open a market for people that don't usually use the custom chips, and they don't know even how to quantify the benefit. The current conversations, we have one onsemi as a customer, and that was basically a 6-week pilot. It ended up because of administration. We ended up spending 3 weeks in getting the contract and all that, and then another 3 weeks just to do the chip and tape out before Christmas. So we did it. And that was, so now we're in an expansive conversation to talk to them and more. MIPS and Infineon and Goodix, and all of them are interested in, like MIPS, for example, they have an interesting twist, is that I'm an IP company, I need to showcase my products, I need a chip, and we just signed the agreement with ARM to put their IP under the hood. Now, everything, no one is going to talk about downloading, or this is all not there. So I call it we fill fabs, okay? But we will fill fabs, can I say? But we just have to say that. Because we're going to unlock the design, make it so easy and reliable. It's not easy because it's a toy. It's for you guys, at the end of the day, the summary of this, filling fabs is going to matter for every one of you in different ways, right? So if you have a design, we used to do the TI, we used to do the DTCO, for example. So they needed design teams to actually get the loop for optimization. So that would solve that. Okay? If you have a design team that your core business is not the design, that solves that problem. And so you're going to get the slides, but the bottom line is our vision for this is that we're going to make it so easy for design starts and more reliably. And then this is the team. We worked together before, a very formidable team in terms of the chip design and computer architecture and AI. You probably know Anand, you know Mike, right? So Mike was the co-founder with me in eFabless. Now he's on the board. And, I wanted to share this just as a fun. So this is, by the way, this is done amazingly with it's called Nano Banana. So I described this. And within like 10 seconds, that's what I got. So product company, look at the complexity on the right. I can't do it, but with native chips, we put everything under the hood. We make it simple, like a steering wheel. This is how people do it. And then the other one for people who develop chips, until today, the semiconductor industry is the least industry that benefited from its own progress in terms of processes, business processes. So we fix that. Just because the communication issues and data management and so that's it. So this is an example, and there's a live. This is live actually. So you can say I need a design to a glass break sensor, and then you can run 20 of them in parallel to see what happens, and you don't have to tape out. And we'll use the difference between this and ChatGPT or any other AI is that it actually runs the tools. And it has access to the proprietary IP in the background, so it's actually giving you real data. So that's it. Thank you.